The Spanish power outage that occurred is should be is a warning sign for what we have to expect if we follow this green energy push that so many people are going for. With now having so many electric vehicles, with having so much electronics, with data centers being a big deal here in the United States, we now have a situation in which we have a massive need for electricity, but the push for many of the bureaucrats, many of the Democrats is we need to have green energy. Well, the problem with that is that it doesn't work. It does to a limited degree, but you can't keep it there. The Spanish power outage has been found that all of a sudden you had a 50% drop in solar power. They did not have the reserves in any other power generation. And all of a sudden, the country was just dropped massively of electricity. And there's talk of oscillations not happening correctly and all this, and you're going to hear this. So Jim Justice, Senator Jim Justice of West Virginia, has got some very folksy way of saying it. Talk about energy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you listen to a guy that's based out of Europe that talk that's talking about it on Fox News, talking about what happened in Spain. Then I'm going to have the clip of Jim Justice talking about what happened with the electricity. Then after that, I'm going to talk a little bit more. But let's get into these clips.
Howdy, y'all. This is Paul, the Redneck Thinker. What we have here is a channel to communicate. I want you folks to be thinking by the time you leave my videos. Why? Because I'm tired of people talking via what other people tell them to think. So, watch my video and enjoy the chance to think for yourself.
Europe experiencing a historic cross-border power outage on Monday, and the region's leaders are doing everything possible to not blame renewable energy. Millions in Spain, Portugal, even parts of France suffering unprecedented blackouts that left people stuck in elevators, walking through subway tunnels, and leaving their cars on the road.
Renewable energy was responsible for 2/3 roughly of Spain's electricity production just before the lights went out, over half from solar power alone. Our next guest believes the Spanish government isn't telling us the whole truth. Joining us now is Public News founder Michael Schellenberger. Michael, so I want to just read to you quickly. Here is a headline about this exact moment in Spain from Reuters. The headline is, "Don't blame renewables for Spain's power outage." Then this is the second sentence of the story. The issue appears to be the management of renewables in the modern grid. Can you square that circle for me, Michael?
Unfortunately, I can't, because the headline is obviously wrong. Look, as soon as this happened, everybody who follows energy closely and understands how electrical grids work knew that it was renewables. There's this very basic idea that you probably remember from your high school physics of inertia, which is in the energy system, in the electrical system, the old-fashioned power plants, coal, gas, nuclear, they have these turbines that spin. And when you're modulating the frequency, because of course you have to perfectly match supply and demand of electricity, or you have either a blackout or a blowout, you allow that inertia in the power plants buffered those little fluctuations that are always happening but need to be carefully managed. Solar farms and also wind turbines don't have that same buffering capacity. They just have these inverters. So this has been widely discussed. It was actually warned of blackouts, was being warned of by the Spanish utility in February. The International Energy Agency, the week before the blackouts, had a special conference on it with a report that they still have not made public, even though it's taxpayer funded, because IEA is the International Energy Agency of OECD countries. So they've been the Spanish government, the president. I don't I rarely say it so harshly, but they certainly know that it was caused by renewables, not just probably because of the inertia problem, but also probably because of the drop of solar and then the increase of it. If there was a cloudy day, they knew what was going on and they've been spreading misinformation about it, so to speak.
Because it threatens them, right? They can't have any evidence that this ginormous boondoggle is a failure, right, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's money involved. As you won't be surprised, the big renewable energy companies have a lot in stake in the governing party of Spain. That's probably one of the biggest ones. But the number of Spaniards that believe in God has declined, and sunlight and the solar is sort of their new god in Europe. Renewables are a way to harmonize human civilization with nature. So it's both a religious obsession and also some kind of more basic, fundamental economic motives, where the politicians fund the renewables companies, the renewable companies support the politicians. But I think we've reached a point where, look, you're just managing all this unreliable, weather-dependent energy coming into the grid. It creates huge amounts of chaos. All of that's before you get to this inertia question, which appears to have been, and almost certainly is, the reason why you had the blackouts.
It sounds like a cult. May God help them.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, ranking member, everyone here, especially these great nominees and all their families. I think about all the people that are out here in our audience and everything. I think about a young man that is intrigued and fascinated and motivated by the process of everything that's going on here. His name's Mikey Wolford, and I absolutely want everybody here to just take just a moment and try to listen to what I would have to say, because I'm from a real energy state, and I've been in the energy business forevermore, and absolutely I know a lot, an awful lot about energy. And I can tell everyone here, whether they're on our side of the aisle, the other side of the aisle, it doesn't matter to me. Really, what really should matter to all of us is we have a crisis right now, and it's looming like Godzilla standing in the background right now for all of us, for every single last one of us. And we've got to react, or Godzilla will surely have a good day and we'll have a bad day. And to react is just this simple. And I've said it over and over and over and over. You're going to have to decide, America. We're going to have to decide either for homes or jobs and energy and industry. We're going to have to decide. And so with all that being said, these nominees, I would say to you just this. You have a responsibility here that is second to none. It's unbelievable, the pressure, the responsibility, how we are relying on you right now. As you go forward, and I surely hope and pray you'll be confirmed without any problems. But with all that being said, today, like it or not like it, in this country, energy is everything. Everything. No matter what anybody says. It is the answer, and it is the key to Emerald City, period. Now, that's all there is to it. So with all that being said, I'm sure that you have areas of expertise like crazy. I'm sure you have a passion and a love for our lands. Dr. Travnik, you spoke of, how you grew up and loved to hunt and fish and everything. Well, that's me all over. That's absolutely me in every way. And I'm sure all of you feel exactly the same. No one wants to harm our environment. No one wants to do anything to our waters. Absolutely, but we have got to react, because there are bad days looming right in front of us if we don't react. That's what our president is trying to do. That's what he does with an emergency in regard to energy. So I would say to you just this, and I've got just a couple of real quick questions and everything. I would say in regard to water, many of our communities are very rural, and we rely on private wells. What resources, and this question is for Dr. Travnik, what resources will your department provide to assist these communities in assuring the safety and reliability of their water supplies?
Thank you, Senator, for the question. We know as we're looking in rural areas and within communities that water infrastructure is going to continue to be more important. So as it relates to, if confirmed with the Bureau of Reclamation, I'll be looking at the different authorities that we do have, looking for opportunities where there might be availability for cost share, and at the same time just trying to see too what partnerships might be as we look at those local communities.
Thank you. I've got to say one other thing, and I don't have a whole lot of time, but Senator Hoeven is a really sharp guy, and he's a friend. And he made a statement just a second ago, and he's dead on the money. He's splitting the bulls out like you can't imagine. He said, delay can be defeat. Well, I've never heard it put that way, but it is absolutely splitting the bullseye. You got to move. You've got to have a real passion. You've got to move. And you've got to know the world depends on you. Every single country in this world, the more energy they have, the longer their people live, the healthier their people are. We need to quit being afraid of energy. You got a lot of good people out there that know how to extract and make energy for all of us. We need to let them go. We need to turn them loose, and we need to quit being afraid. Absolutely, the shadow can scare us to death. We don't need to worry about Godzilla in the closet unless we don't act. And then if we don't act, Godzilla will act, I promise you. That's all I've got. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator Justice. Thanks for your comments and your strong message. Appreciate it very much. Senator King.
There is no good way to generate electricity. Solar that all these people talk about, oh, well, we need to do that. Well, we're not doing it in a practical way to begin with. In any way, shape, or form, we're not doing it in a practical way. Utility size solar generation is deadly to the environment. You may not think so, but it destroys the ground underneath of it, causes it not to be able to be used for anything. So if you're putting it on farmland, you're destroying farmland. If you're putting it out where it doesn't destroy anything, well, technically you still are, but like say deserts and everything, you've got to get that power to population centers. Hydroelectric can work, but you've got to find the right places to put that, and that destroys areas. You've just got to look at, coal, yeah, it can be destructive, but at the end of the day, you've got to figure out what are we going to do about power generation, and do we have members of Congress, do we have people within the government that actually understand the real story of energy, or do you have a bunch of people dreaming of pie in the sky BS that isn't going to work, and they're not actually trying to figure out what's going on because they're too busy with the pie in the sky bull? That's what we've got, and you've got to become educated because you've got to make sure that your members of Congress are doing their job, that the people within the government are doing their job, and learning what's got to be done. End of story. You've got to be the ones that do this. This has been Paul, the Redneck Thinker. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. So, folks, that's the story that I wanted to bring you on this video. And I just wanted to say thank you again for coming by. Hit like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff if you don't mind. Help me out. So, Y'all have a good day now. Bye.